You're watching TVC Breakfast. It's time to look at the papers now. Let's see what the headlines are across Nigerian newspapers. And to make sense of all of that, this morning I have with me Jide Logun, one of our regulars. He's a lawyer, public affairs analyst. Jide, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Mike.
Welcome. I like your tie there. The colors are amazing.
Thank you.
Great. And we also have Dikbo Yewole here. He's a strategist and development strategist. It's nice to have you join me.
Good morning, Mike.
Great. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right. Okay, let's begin with Business Day. Business Day newspaper this morning says Nigeria may be left out as the world pumps more oil. Nigeria may be left out as the world pumps more oil. And that's Business Day. Daily Times is next, and it says presidency PDP bicker over comments on 2023. Presidency PDP bicker over comment on 2023. That's Daily Times. Blueprint newspaper is focusing on Igboho's arrest. Don't grant extradition order to federal government. Council tells Benin Republic. Don't grant extradition order to federal government. Council tells Benin Republic. Yoruba leaders working to stop deportation. Akintoye is saying this. And declare amnesty for Igboho. Kanu Ladoja tells federal government, we're studying the situation. Afenifere is saying this. All right. These are all perspectives to the story of Igboho's arrest when the news broke out. First News is where we go next, and it's still focusing on Igboho. It says federal government's extradition move suffers setback. And as battle shifts to International Criminal Court, federal government extradition move suffers setback as battle shifts to International Criminal Court. That is the first news there. Daily Trust is next, and it says Buhari vows to fish out troublemakers as federal government moves to extradite Igboho. How Interpol arrested agitator wife in Cotonou, and don't surrender him. He won't get justice in Nigeria, as his lawyer is saying this. Arrest won't stop secession agitation. Ladoja is saying this. DSS keeps mum on all of this. That's what the Daily Trust has in there. All right, let's move now to the last one we're looking at, News Direct. And News Direct says controversy trails Igboho's arrest. And Ladoja is telling the federal government, declare amnesty for Igboho. And the federal government ruthless on Igboho, weak against bandits and others. Ozekome is saying this. All right. This is News Direct, and I feel we should start from here. Sunday Igboho's story is all over the papers today. And let's see what sense we can make out of all of this, especially when the council are getting involved, talking about the International Criminal Court and all of that. Let me start with you, Jide. I guess you've been following this development. If the story credited to Ladoja here, if it is something to go by, declare amnesty for Igboho, and there's also a call to declare amnesty for all of the other guys too, and so on. What do you make of that anyway?
You know, amnesty is saying you can repent, then we'll reintegrate you. But that is about those who have even been found to have been involved in crime, for example. You know, these are agitators. But you recall that in the regime of the Niger Delta, the people there also were given an amnesty by the late President Musa Yar'Adua. And beyond this amnesty we are talking about, can we focus on the fundamental issues that are prompting these agitations? Where is Nigeria? Why are people restive? Why do we have all these misgivings? Can we begin to address it? And I summarize it by making reference to the management of the resources of this country. The Commonwealth should be for the common good. I take it back to the Constitution that requires that there should be justice, there should be equity, there should be freedom. You know, you go to section 14, subsection 2 that says that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. If we have focused on all this, we won't have all these forces creating the symptoms we have in our society that people are beginning to rise up to agitate. And this case of Igboho is deep. Now we are dealing with extradition. The government is saying, release him to us. And the other side is saying, no, grant him asylum. And I know that between Ghana, Togo, Benin Republic, and Nigeria, there's this treaty, all right, that it should help protect him. But it depends on how you play that diplomatic game. And of course, with the question some are also asking, now that Kanu has been rearrested and brought back to Nigeria, has this solved the insecurity problem in the country? Has the agitation stopped? So even if Igboho is brought back to the country, will that solve the crisis we have in the nation? And I also want to advise, look at what happened in South Africa recently. It has drawn that country back for about 10 years to begin to bridge the gap that has been created by the level of violence that broke out. And that is a way of saying that there are forces we must appeal to beyond the parties we are just identifying. And there's the issue of perception here in public relations. Some are coming out to say, now you are pursuing the Igbohos, you are pursuing the Kanus. What about the bandits? So what have you done to that? And that is a huge burden on the government.
Well, that twist is something that a lot of Nigerians have been asking questions. And if you look at the intelligence and the coordination and the intel that went into the arrest of Kanu and even Igboho outside of the shores of the country, it tells you that Nigeria has a lot of clout and when it comes to international relations and all of that, especially on the African continent. And if all of that went into arresting these people, and within the country that we have mastery and have authority over when it comes to jurisdiction, and bandits, are going up and down doing whatever they're doing, how is government able to do that with other people and not able to do this? That's part of the question.
Well, sincerity of purpose, that's one thing that we're not seeing with regards to handling the bandits, because yes, a lot of people said the same thing, that if you could carry out that kind of operation, getting Kanu back into the country, now he was arrested in Benin Republic, you have all these resources, you have all these contacts, you have these relationships. What are you doing about the bandits? Because for me now, they're no longer bandits, they're terrorists. Because once you're able to have the capacity to shoot down a fighter plane, now a fighter plane goes faster than a commercial airline. Now, if you have that capacity, you are no longer a bandit. It's not just about you going into people's houses to rob them or to pillage the place. You are a terrorist, which is something I had always said here, that we need to look at these guys as terrorists. They are criminals. All these nomenclatures that they've chosen to give them, bandits, terrorists, whatever, it doesn't work. They need to be treated like criminals that they are. And somehow we're not seeing such enthusiasm with handling them, which for me is quite questionable. Because as much as I salute the pilot that survived, it was quite a feat to achieve. But I would say that while we're giving him a standing ovation, we also keep our eyes open and we look round. God forbid that these guys go into populated areas where there are no-fly zone restrictions, and then they're starting to target commercial airlines. What are we then going to be talking about? Are we going to be having states of emergencies in different parts of the country? Or what escalation are we going to be looking at exactly? So we need to have that sincerity of purpose for which the federal government is going after these people that they see in their own perception or in their own eye as enemies of the state. We need to look, they need to turn that same energy inward to address these guys, because enough is enough, and it is high time that they show a lot more deliberate approach with handling these bandits, these terrorists, overall these criminals within our borders.
All right. Jide, you have often talked about the issue of there are agitations here and there. We have insecurity here, but let us address what is the root cause of all of these. You've always talked about that. Well, if we have to take that now on and saying, okay, let us even sit down and look at the socioeconomic, whatever other issues, what steps should be taken in that regard right now? And what should be considered in doing that?
Let's start from welfare. Nigeria has the largest deposit of proven gas in Africa. And as at this morning, it's reported that we can only generate about 4,000 megawatts of electricity. All right. And I think South Africa generates about 50 or more. If we have maximized our potentials, we'll be able to create jobs. We have 4 refineries in the hands of the government that are moribund and swallowing a lot of billions of dollars in terms of turnaround maintenance. If we have built more, if we have made them functional, we create jobs. If we refine the oil within Nigeria, we will save the forex that we pay to other countries to energize their economy and invest that in Nigeria. If there is justice, no nepotism, we embrace one another, you have what you're entitled to. There is peace in the land. In fact, the peace in the land, we attract foreign direct investment into the country. Nigeria is blessed. We won't have all these issues. But right now, it's like the adage of the elders that when a bird perches on a rope, both the rope and the bird are not at ease. Because I look at it, when we go back to the perception that, okay, the northern people are oppressing the southern people, which we cannot deny as a perception. But I ask the same question. If you do a research on the poorest region in the country, it's the northern part of the country. In fact, Katsina State is the state of my president. You don't want to know the poverty profile of that state. When you talk about insecurity, the headquarters, the north. Is this how a nation should be? No. And that's why we are saying, can we sit down? The resources in Nigeria can take care of the whole of Africa if maximized. Now that's why people are talking about restructuring. So you see the Niger Delta region that has crude oil in abundance and gas complain about poverty. You see Zamfara that has gold that can earn that at about $2 billion annually, complain about poverty, and some illegal miners coming in there. Like he said now, I have expressed my worries. Now we understand that the Chicano jets are leaving America for Nigeria. Are they going to be shot down by the so-called bandits? Who are the sponsors of the bandits? We were asking questions. At a point in this country, you'll be reading news, 4 containers of tramadol imported in the country. And we're asking the question, who are the importers of this tramadol? So now we have radicalized some elements to terrorize the nation. They will frustrate your investment. So can we go back to the primary purpose of government as enshrined in section 14 subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And when you talk about semantics, security comes first. Where there is no security, you don't even talk about welfare. Okay. So can we go back and agree that, okay, Nigeria belongs to all of us. On the platform of justice, let's enjoy the blessings of this country. I won't have all this. Do they have these issues in Switzerland? Do they have it in Sweden? Do they have it in so you need in the UAE? We need to ask this question.
All right. A lot of questions there demanding answers. But let's put both of you on hold, gentlemen. Let's go on a break and we'll be right back on the program. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast. We're taking a look at the headlines across Nigerian newspapers. We'll be right back on this. Stay with us. You're watching TVC Breakfast. We're looking at headlines across Nigerian newspapers, and have be Dipo Yewole and Gigi Logun here been helping us to make sense of the headlines we have. Now, we have more of the headlines today talking about the controversy around the arrest of Sunday Igboho in Benin Republic, and the news, the back and forth regarding whether he will be extradited to Nigeria or not. All of that process, government is handling it, but we're talking about the reports we're getting that are filtering in here and there. Now, Dipo, the point there is, we've been talking, in fact, with my previous guests, we were talking about the complexity of Nigeria. Now, other countries also have their challenge. No, in fact, there's no country that doesn't have its own challenge, including the United States or even Great Britain, as the case may be.
We have a lot.
If you come to Nigeria, a lot of the challenges that we have, some analysts have said that our problem are generally or greatly avoidable problems if government decides to take action. Because Nigerians are they're just hard workers who just want to, just few basic amenities and then they move on. But if we look at the complexities, how far from solutions are we really if we have to?
Yeah, I had to side because so we're on air and we also have to be responsible with what we say. And as much as I'm not quite optimistic, I'm trying not to push out a lot of pessimism out there. But this much I will say, that we have quite a distance to go in terms of getting things back on track we've been talking about security and other issues, and so far we haven't seen a huge leap in the last couple of years with these various issues. We're talking about poverty in different conversations, talking about different agitations. So the question is, either it's agitation or the issues of insecurity. In the last couple of years, have the government done what they ought to have done? Because most of these challenges, like you said, they are rightly avoidable. Today you have people from different parts of the country saying that, oh, they want to leave, they want their own self-determination. The question is, what gave birth to those conversations? We didn't always have those conversations per se, and even if we had them, they weren't this loud. So the question is, over the years, what has the government done? Today we have 2014 confab that has still not been executed. Today some people are calling for another one, and I say it's a bloody waste of time and waste of money, because we already have one. Because the details in the confab of 2014, the issues raised there, they are still very much relevant today. So just pick up the document and see how we can have those conversations.
But on the other hand, the government in power today, when it comes from the issue of the political party, they were not part of that confab.
Because
You remember?
yes, yeah. So which brings me back to another issue around saying that either they were part of the conversation or not. We're talking about the issues now, not politics. We're talking about the issues. Are the issues valid? Because what you just raised now, saying that they weren't part of the conversation for the confab, is part of how they abdicate responsibilities of doing what they ought to do now, saying that, okay, all these started when the previous administration was in power, when the previous party was in power. We need to leave. They need to understand that in terms of governance, there needs to be a time where we need to set aside party affiliations and see that here we are to govern. And what is the purpose of governance? To move people from where they are to where they ought to be. That's the purpose of leadership as well. Are they doing that? Or they're saying that, okay, you know what, we weren't here when all this happened. Okay, now that you're here now, what are you doing about it? Because they need to wake up and say that they have a sense of responsibility with dealing with these issues. The issues are still relevant. The issues were the primary purpose of the confab, not saying that a certain political party was the one that set it up, or they were the ones that were part of the conversations or not. The issues are what we're talking about now. Those are the things that need to be addressed.
Okay.
The issues are what are the things that are causing insecurity. The issues are the things that are causing agitations. The issues are the things that they need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed quite decisively.
All right. Nigerians look forward to that. Now, Jide, we'd like you to enlighten us when it comes to the processes of extraditing someone back into the country that will meet standards in such a way that there are no complaints as to my rights were violated, because there are standards, there are benchmarks in the, across the country or across the world when it comes to the processes for all of these. Now we're having the reports we're getting from Benin Republic. There are issues. There are some groups of people or lawyers trying to, influence the government of Benin Republic not to extradite Igboho to Nigeria. On the other hand, the government is working and doing everything possible to extradite him back to Nigeria, and all of that. But talk to us basically, what are the standards?
You talk about extradition. There are two terms there,
Okay.
with Latin origin, ex and traditum, which is to release a fugitive.
Okay.
Whether Igboho is a fugitive now is a different
It's a different thing.
And it's quite an old concept. As far back as 1891, you can read cases about extradition. And what he's saying is that there's this territorial party, which is Benin Republic, where he is now. There is a requesting party, which is Nigeria. That, okay, this person is alleged to have committed some crimes in Nigeria, release him to us, but he's not in your land. So it's a diplomatic issue. But if you look at the Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, it endorses self-actualization. I mean, talking about those who are agitating to liberate themselves if they so wish. And that makes it difficult on where to position Igboho as a party. On the side of asylum, asilia is, a Latin word also that has Greek connotation, which means inviolable place. That means, except Benin Republic releases Igboho, Nigeria cannot forcefully bring him here. So if he is granted asylum, they must provide befitting accommodation for him and reasonable protection All right. So the battle is now on between the government and those who are saying, and those who are pushing for asylum are saying, we cannot trust the Nigerian government to protect the fundamental human rights of this party. You know, he may not get justice. And the Nigerian government pushing for extradition, they say, no, this person has committed a crime in Nigeria. And even if he's brought in here under Section 36 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 that's amended, he's still presumed innocent. You have to, you know, prosecute him and prove the case beyond all reasonable doubt. And that's why some of us are saying, while these games are going on, it emphasizes the capacity of the government to deal with the issues in this country.
Exactly.
Where there is sincerity of purpose. So it's also a huge burden on the government to prove that if you can do it with the Boho and with Kano, if you can do the Python dance, you should be able to quell the insurgency going on in the north. So, but let's see where we go. Like I said, there is a treaty endorsed by Ghana, Togo, Benin Republic, and Nigeria. But let's see how.
All right. Time will not permit us to go further than this for now, but we'll be following the developments to see how things turn out. Thank you very much, Jide Ologun, for coming on the program.
God bless Nigeria.
Thank you. God bless Nigeria always, and God bless Africa. Thank you very much, Dipo Yewale, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.